Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. A video that is not a studio vlog. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Becca and I'm creator and owner of REBELJONES, a kawaii stationery shop. And I'm here today to bring you a much needed and a very much asked, if that is even a saying, a video all about Kickstarter. And yeah, I'm going to be going through all my Kickstarters, what I've learned from them, the tips, my tips, also how to create your Kickstarter page. I'm going to be going through it all with you, with also some prices and rough profits of what I've made from my Kickstarters. And I can't wait to bring this to you because I know so many people have asked for this, and I've just been putting it off because it takes a long time. But here I am, I'm gonna do it for you. So yeah, let's get started. Let's dive deep into my Kickstarter experience and go from there. Okay, let's just quickly tell you a rough kind of thing, if that, please get used to me like not making sense most of the time. Hopefully this video will make sense to you, but let's talk about Kickstarter, what it is, and the perks of it. So Kickstarter is essentially a platform to help bring creative people's projects to life. It's like a crowdfunding page. Also, if you see notes, I've got notes. It's a crowdfunding page, and honestly, I have loved it since the first day I tried Kickstarter. Fell in love with it, and I've done many more since then. And it's just been incredible. If you are a fellow small business or even just a business that needs help with something, there's a project that you have in mind, a dream project that you just can't afford to do all by yourself, this is where Kickstarter comes in. This is the platform that helps you essentially make your dreams come true. I've just come back from Disney and I'm feeling very magical, but it is essentially that. So, and one thing that drew me into Kickstarter and what I love about Kickstarter and the whole crowdfunding kind of thing and platform is that it's a pledge now and pay later platform. So it's a bit different because you're probably thinking, why Kickstarter, why not pre-orders? With pre-orders, people have to pay upfront there and then, whereas with Kickstarter, they can pledge and no money comes out of their account until the Kickstarter campaign ends. So it's a very like appealing thing for people. That's why a lot of people enjoy doing it. It's one of the reasons. So yeah, that's what I love about this platform, that is a pledge now, pay later platform. And I would advise you to constantly talk about that because I think people get confused or don't realise. You've got to keep telling people you don't have to pay right now, you pay at the end. So, and one thing that I really love about Kickstarter is that. Just a quick little fact about Kickstarter. So they launched on April 28th in 2009, and since then until this date they've had 23 million people backing projects, which is crazy. And like one of those projects or a few of those projects are mine and so many other people's that I know. So you know, it does, like, people love it and people also love pledging on it. So it is an amazing platform and I'd highly recommend giving it a go for sure. I'm gonna just quickly go through my Kickstarter experience because it is an experience and a half. I have done 6 Kickstarters and I'm gonna start with my very first Kickstarter, which was for my Know Your Worth pin. This is no longer sold on my website anymore. I might bring it back one day with a new design, but for now I'm keeping it out. But this was such a special Kickstarter, not just because it was my first, but because it did so well and I was not expecting it. So this Know Your Worth Kickstarter, I started it in December of 2020. And my main goal, the goal that I needed to get and to be able to make these pins was £250. Personally, like, it sounds a lot, but it's actually quite a small amount for Kickstarter. So that was my goal. Now, it ended up ending on £858 and with 96 backers. I will never forget this Kickstarter. I remember being in my part-time job at the time. I just launched it. Like, I obviously have been talking about it a lot, which I'll go more further in detail later, but yeah, I launched it, didn't really think much of it, and it just blew up. It went crazy, it was amazing, and I was not expecting to make that and also get 96 people back, my first ever Kickstarter project. It was incredible. Now, like, it was during COVID, which I think a lot of people were supporting small businesses a lot more and were at home more, and like that definitely had a factor to play in it. But yeah, that was my first experience, and honestly, when it ended, I couldn't wait to do another one. So my next Kickstarter was actually a collaboration. So you can do this. It's, you know, I say it's easily done, but it can be hard because when you're just relying on yourself, sometimes it's a little bit easier. So when you bring someone in, it gets a bit more complicated with like the profits and everything like that. But my second Kickstarter was a collaboration with the amazing OK Doodle, and it was the Fearless Dreamer Kickstarter. Now this was to fund some enamel pins and also some enamel keychains. Claire drew hers, I drew mine, and we joined them together. It was such a beautiful collection, such a beautiful Kickstarter. I absolutely loved it. And with that, we launched it on January 2022, and our main goal was £1,500, and we reached that, and we actually got £1,537 with 74 backers. So really, it didn't do as well as my previous Kickstarter, but it was amazing. We got it funded. At the end of the day, all that matters is that you want to get your project funded so you can make this, you know, a reality, and we were able to do that, and it was amazing. My third Kickstarter was on my own again, and it was called You've Flipping Got This. This was such a fun one as well. It was for enamel pins, and it was a flip phone pin with some extra pins to go with it, and the goal for this one was £600. Now the £600 was just to fund the flip phone pin, it wasn't to fund the other pins. But they were like stretch goals, and I'll go into stretch goals and stuff later on, but it was £600 to fund that, and I got £1,672 with 60 backers. That one went crazy as well. It was just an amazing experience. I've had such awesome experiences with Kickstarter. So yeah, that was just like loads of pins. There were a few more tiers in this one, because like tier options, because there were different pins, but there are easier ways of doing that and making it less cluttered, which I will again go through later. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about it's probably been one of my favorites. It was the Dream Plan Do Kickstarter, which was for my first ever journal. I was so excited about this. I love journaling. I am a stationery shop, and I remember getting my first ever journal, fell in love, and I was like, I want to make ones like this with my own designs. And so yeah, we did the Dream Plan Do Kickstarter in January of 2023, and my main goal to be able to fund the bullet journals were £750, and I actually ended up getting £1,432 with 47 backers. That was my lowest amount of backers, but my like most successful profit-wise Kickstarter. There were 3 tiers, and yeah, it wasn't too complicated. Obviously you've got the bullet journal, there was like a sticker sheet you could pledge for, but yeah, like this one did amazingly well. It was just a really successful one. Then the next Kickstarter that I did was for my first ever plushie. So it was for Nora the plush with her accessories. So yes, by the way, most of these things, not all of these things, I think the bullet journal you can get on my shop. Well, whilst I'm filming this, it's currently out of stock, but they are on their way, a restock. But Nora, you can adopt your own Nora. Nora was a character of mine. I think I drew randomly. People totally fell in love with her, and then the amount of people that messaged were like, Beck, we need a Nora plushie and we need to be able to dress her up. So I thought, okay, this is gonna be a very, very big task, a very big project. Where do I go? Kickstarter. And it was amazing. So I launched this in December 2023, and my main goal to fund the 250 Nora plushies was £1,450. This scared me so much because this was the highest Kickstarter that I've done by myself. The collab was 1,500, I think I mentioned earlier, so it was a little bit more than this, £50 more, but it was like a collaboration, so we had 2 different social medias behind it, all that kind of stuff, whereas this was just me on my own. And that was just to fund the Nora plushies. There were stretch goals to unlock to be able to fund the accessories, so you can dress her up. Like, it's awesome. If you want to adopt your own Nora, I'd highly recommend. She is insanely cute. But yeah, I ended up ending the campaign with £3,990, and I was blown away, and I had 91 backers. It was amazing. There's 91 people out there with their own Noras. I've been able to sell more on since then, and it was just so magical. And now I have one of my characters as a plushie, and like, this would not have happened without Kickstarter, so it was incredible. My most recent one, the one that's like the last one that I've done so far, has been for another bullet journal. So the Journey Starts Now purple bullet journal. Yeah, this, I knew people love my journals, because once they pledged for the Dream Plan Do ones and they got them, and now people have seen them in person, people have been like just fallen in love. The quality is amazing. I'm insanely proud of these journals. So I knew I wanted to bring a new design out, and of course I go to Kickstarter for it. So this was my most recent one, and this was in March 2024. And my main goal was 1,600 to fund 200 bullet journals. Yeah, we ended the campaign with 2,896. So I didn't do as much as like Nora. Also, we had 80 backers on that, but with that I was able to get some more of the Dream Plan Do bullet journals and order 200 of the new journals. And yeah, I'm just super, super grateful. So they are my experiences so far with Kickstarter. These are all the campaigns that I've done so far. I'm planning on doing many more in the future, but I want to just quickly let you know how long each one took. So from the first ever one to Nora, the campaigns were a month long. I'll go a little bit more about how long you should do, or how long like the campaigns can be, but my most recent one, I decided to bite the bullet and just do it for 2 weeks. Only because a month is a long time, and it can be quite draining, constantly like talking about it and stuff like that. So I was able to be in a position where I felt like I could do a campaign within 2 weeks, and I noticed that a lot of my previous Kickstarters, they were fully funded. Well, to be honest, they were fully funded in hours, so I knew I could do it in 2 weeks. But obviously if you're just starting out, I'd highly recommend doing a month-long one. Yeah, just keep that in mind. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Like I said, these are my experiences with Kickstarter so far. I have learned something new from every single one of them, except for my recent one. My recent one, I used everything that I learned from all the others, and it was the most successful one profit-wise for me. The Journey Starts Now bullet journal Kickstarter was, yeah, that was the one. But yeah, I've learned so much from every single one of them, so I'm so glad to bring this to you, because hopefully it won't take you as long and you won't have to learn from each and every one that you do, and hopefully this will help you. Profit-wise, I'm just going to base it on Nora and the Journey Starts Now, because the other ones, I mean, the Know Your Worth one, the first ever one I did, I made a really good profit on that. I remember that happening. But the ones after that, I didn't. I was close to not making a profit at all, or just breaking even. And you know, some people might think that that's great, and it is. But yeah, to break even is amazing. However, when I was doing more and more, and I am a business and I've put a lot of time and energy into doing this, it's important for you to, you know, accept that you need to make a profit. We are a business at the end of the day, and it's important to try and make a profit from these. Anyway, with the Nora Kickstarter, I made a profit around £500, which was amazing for me. never made a profit like that before for my Kickstarter. It was awesome. However, with The Journey Starts Now, I made £1,000 profit from that. So yeah, it was doubled. It was great, it was amazing. And I just want to reiterate that, you know, it's okay if you want to make a profit. You should want to make a profit because it is your business. Okay, so you're probably wondering, where do I start? Because you've probably clicked on this because you want to know more about how to create a successful Kickstarter, don't we all? And it's daunting, it's scary. I want to just quickly say that it is okay if you don't have a successful Kickstarter. Don't let that stop you from doing more. It all depends on, you know, how long you've had your business for, where you are in the social media world, or even just communication with your followers and with your community. They have big factors in it, but at the end of the day, just try not to be disheartened if it doesn't go, like if it doesn't get funded. I just don't want it to stop you from, you know, trying it again. I'm lucky to say that that hasn't happened to me, but I know people that it has happened to, and I've made sure to tell them, like, don't let it stop you, like keep trying for another one. But yeah, if you're on here and you want to know where to start, I've got some advice on all this, what I've learned, and I'm going to bring it to you. One piece of advice that I definitely recommend is start small. I am so glad I started with an enamel pin, not like a Nora plushie or a bullet journal. I started small with a goal of £250. It's like building your business. You've got to start, you know, somewhere, and then you know, gradually get better. You bring bigger items in, more items in, stuff like that. So the Know Your Worth Kickstarter was just for a pin and a sticker. And I think if you start small, it's less pressure. Like if you, like £250 is a doable amount in a month. Whereas if I started my first Kickstarter under the bullet journal or the plushies, for example, like I don't think it would have happened. So start small, whether that be like a pin or some washi tape or, you know, keychains, something like that. Also, even if you think that you can fund these things by yourself, you can still do a Kickstarter. Like, you don't have to fully rely on yourself for something. It's okay to, you know, ask for help and get help from other people and from Kickstarter. So don't think that if you have the money to do it yourself that you have to do it. Don't. If you want to do a Kickstarter with it, do a Kickstarter for it. So let's say you've got a Kickstarter in mind. Let's talk about things that you should include. So like I said, I've learned a lot from all my Kickstarters. There's things that have thrown me off that I didn't include when working it all out. I can't express enough how important it is to make sure you include everything when you are figuring out your main goal that needs to get funded, and also your tiers and how much they're going to cost. So when I say everything, I mean manufacturing costs, your packaging. For example, my pins, they come on backing cards. Include that into your goal, how much your backing cards are going to cost. Thank you cards. A lot of people do thank you cards in their packages to send out to people who have pledged. Include that in your goal. Freebies. I mean, it doesn't, you know, I'm saying like freebies, but I essentially always offer, like, if you pledge for a bullet journal, you'll get this freebie. But it is important to also include that into your goal, because that is an expense that you are going to end up paying out. So just think of everything that you're going to do, whether it be like a sticker, but you're going to put a sticker in a cello bag or a glassine bag or something like that. Include them, please. Include everything that you are going to use. The boxes that or the mailers that you're going to put these products in, everything needs to be included in that main goal, because I've done it so many times when I haven't included it and I've come to have to pay it, and that wasn't, like, I hadn't worked that out into my goal. So that's why I lost. I either lost money in my previous Kickstarters before, or broke even. So yeah, just please, please, please include everything. Another thing that I want to point out that I think people get shocked by, and I've been shocked by in the past, is Kickstarter fees. They're not huge. I mean, they look huge when you end up like when I did my Nora plushie Kickstarter, like the Kickstarter fees were massive, but then like written down, they're not that big, if that makes sense. But include your Kickstarter fees in your main goal. So Kickstarter takes 5%, and then they also take a payment processing fee of 3% plus 20p per pledge. And then it also states pledges under £10 have a discounted micro pledge fee of 5% plus 5p per pledge. Please include them in your main goal in your Kickstarter campaign. So when working all this out, I'm not good at this kind of stuff, guys, and when it's like, when you are doing a campaign and there's loads of things to think about when you're in like working out your main goal and your tier prices, it can get very overwhelming for me. I'm not great with numbers. I've got dyscalculia. It just ain't my thing. Luckily, I've got a partner who's very intelligent in those ways and knows how to work Google Sheets. So if you know how to work Google Sheets, that is great. If you don't, try and ask someone who can help you. But my last 2 Kickstarters, or 3, I think, since the Dream Plan Do one, I've used Google Sheets to work everything out. By me, I say my partner. He's been able to do stuff, coding stuff or pricing stuff, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And I've been able to put everything that I'm spending, all the things that I'm spending, all the expenses, Kickstarter fees, shipping, all that kind of stuff, I've been able to put in there, and it's been able to work out how much my main goal should be with all that taken in, as well as my tier prices. So if you know anyone that can help you, or if you know that kind of stuff, I highly recommend Google Sheets for all that. It's helped so much with my Kickstarters and been like helped me make a profit. I need to point out this because this throws people off so much. It's thrown me off loads, and that is the shipping. You also need to include your shipping prices in your main goal. I say this because you could have your main goal and you could put it up there, and then when you start to see people pledging, it obviously tells you how far off you are from your goal. But people's shipping, so when people choose a tier, like my journal, they'll go to the next page and then they'll have to choose their shipping, and it is at a cost, obviously. So always make sure that that's clear, that shipping is added on to your pledge after they've chosen the tier that they want. But that all of that, so their tier cost and shipping gets taken off from the final goal. So you might reach your goal, essentially. Like if you don't include your shipping prices into your main goal, you'll reach your goal and you'll think, oh my god, we've done it, but then you kind of haven't because it includes the shipping. Does that make sense? I hope so. If you have any questions during this whole process and this whole video, please comment them below. I'm happy to help, or come over to my Instagram, DM me, whatever. But yes, include your shipping prices, your shipping full price in your main goal. And last but not least, when it comes to figuring out your main goal and stuff, include your time, guys. I've done this so many times where I just haven't included my time. As small business owners and creatives, we find it very difficult when we price our items to include our time in that, but it's important, especially when you do a Kickstarter that ends up getting funded. It takes a long time. Like, you're packing all these orders up, you're doing everything, so please try and include your time into your main goal as well. Okay, I just want to touch base on some things that I've mentioned, so like stretch goals, for example. So you don't have to do these. You can have a simple Kickstarter where it's just one item you pledge for that one item. But people like to make it, like, spice it up a little bit, make it a little bit more exciting and add in stretch goals. So, for example, my Nora plushie Kickstarter, the main goal was to fund 250 Nora plushies, but if we got to a certain amount, which hopefully you can see on the screen, once we reach that certain amount, we unlock the frog hat, for example, and once we reach another one, we unlock the bucket hat, the other one we unlock the backpack, something like that. But if you want to include that, Again, make sure everything that you've done for your main goal, you do that with your stretch goals as well. I'd highly recommend doing them. It's a lot of fun. It can just get a bit more confusing. So I think from now on, I don't think I'm gonna do many stretch goals. I'm not gonna say I'm never, but I think when I do a Kickstarter campaign, I'm just gonna try and get everything funded. So with the Nora plushie, for example, I wouldn't have done main goal as the 250 plushies. I would have done the main goal being the plushies and the accessories together. Sorry if you can hear my dog. Someone's just driven past and now he's barking, so bear with me 1 second. So yeah, they're stretch goals. If you want to know more, let me know, but I'll link all my Kickstarters down below. Have a good little look to see like what I did. But yeah, stretch goals are totally up to you. It just makes it a little bit more confusing for you and a bit more of a hard work and like pressure. So just bear that in mind if you do end up doing stretch goals. So like I mentioned earlier, figure out how long you want it to go on for. So most of my Kickstarters went on for a month, but obviously my most recent one was only 2 weeks. I would, if this is your first Kickstarter, I'd highly recommend doing it for a month, but also you can do whatever you want at the end of the day. I'm just advising like from my experiences. But yeah, make sure you choose how long. You can do it for like 3 weeks. Can you do it for 1 week? I don't know, you'll have to check, but it's up to you, really. I think you might even be able to do it longer than a month. But yeah, just make sure you have a good think about how long you want the campaign to go on for. Another thing that I don't know if you know this about Kickstarter already, but a lot of people like to bring people in with like a discount. So every Kickstarter that I've done, I've basically made the item at a discounted like Kickstarter price. So it entices people in, it makes people wanna, you know, be part of it more because it's something that no one else, if you don't pledge, you're not gonna get this discounted price. So on like my bullet journals, they're £30 on, or I think my Dream Plan Do one was £30 on Kickstarter, but on my shop is £35. So things like this are really, really good to do. It's only a little discount. It's worth it because it just makes people feel even more part of it, and I will talk about that, but it is so important to really make people feel special for being part of this Kickstarter and helping you fund this awesome, you know, creative project, and giving something to them at a discounted price or a freebie is highly recommended for sure. Okay, now I've gone through all that, are you ready to start your Kickstarter campaign or start your Kickstarter page? I'm now going to go through the things I have done, and I'm gonna use my recent Kickstarter page as an example. I'm gonna go through how I set it up, because this is a very, very important part, is how your page looks, how it comes across. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go through with you now. So the first thing you need to think about is your thumbnail. The main image for your Kickstarter campaign, like you can see here on mine with the Journey Starts Now bullet journal, it's the main image. So if people search bullet journal and Kickstarter, this is, you know, hopefully what they will see. So you want to make sure that it's clear and like exactly what the Kickstarter is, what it's called, what it's for, images if you've got mock-up images or images of the actual product. So for me, I was able to get my manufacturer to come like produce me a mock-up photo of the journal. Luckily with Nora, I had a sample, so I was able to use the real thing, which was great. But yeah, make sure you make it clear exactly what this Kickstarter is for, and highlight the important parts. By this, I mean, you can see in my thumbnail, like it says 180 GSM paper, holographic edging, pew leather, like stuff like that. If there is a, like, for example, like an enamel pin, make sure that you highlight that it is gold plated, silver plated, black nickel plated. Has it got a rubber back? Has it got a metal back? Like things like that, things that will, you know, has it got glitter in it? Things that people need to know about that product. Make sure you highlight those things. this is gonna be a hard one, but try not to make it too cluttered. I know that can be hard, especially if you've got more than one item. So with the Journey Starts Now one, obviously there was the bullet journal, there's the sticker, and there's the washi tape, and there's also the sticker sheet, which is quite a lot of items, but try your best not to make it too cluttered, which can be hard. You're probably looking at mine now thinking that's cluttered, but I thought I did quite well with it. Another thing that's quite fun to do with your thumbnail is, if you are doing stretch goals, this is, if you're not, doesn't matter, but put in little like lock images. By the way, I use Canva to do all of this, guys. When you start your Kickstarter page, it'll give you like the dimensions of each image, and Canva is the way to go. I'm sure you're probably sitting here like, Beck, I already have it, babes. I'm already there. But if you don't, get on Canva. It's amazing. It's helped me out loads, and you can just design everything on there. But yeah, you can put little like locked emojis so people can see if it's been unlocked or if it's still locked, and it also entices people in to be like, oh, I wonder how much they need to unlock that certain item and stuff. So yeah, that's the kind of tips I have for creating your thumbnail for Kickstarter. And then we start to go through the page. So I'll show you a little bit at the end of the vlog, at the end of this video, how like easy it is when you start your Kickstarter campaign. They've spread it out really nicely, and I'll explain that later. But let's talk about how it looks when people click on your Kickstarter page. So I start every Kickstarter with an About Me part. I include a photo of me. If you don't feel comfortable including photos of yourself, that is absolutely fine. Maybe include your logo. But yeah, talk about you a little bit. Talk about your experience. If you've had previous experiences with Kickstarter, if this is your first Kickstarter, talk about that. Talk about the fact that it's your first one, you know, you're excited, you're nervous, all that kind of stuff. Maybe talk about ones that you've backed before, like, you know, talk about the fact that you've used Kickstarter before to back pledges, to back Kickstarters, but you haven't had one yourself. Just talk a little bit about you, your business, and all that kind of stuff. Include your socials, include your Instagram, if you have a YouTube, if you have a website, a Patreon like me. By the way, guys, I have a Patreon dedicated to small businesses. If you fancy learning more about that, I will link it down below. Such an amazing community, very, very proud of it. But yeah, include your socials, like wherever they can find you, wherever you are, just include those links in that About You section. And then talk a little bit about why Kickstarter, so your reasons why you've chosen Kickstarter, whether it be the fact that you can't fund it, you can't afford it, or it's something that you've really wanted to try for ages. Yeah, it's totally up to you. Ball's in your court. You just explain why you've chosen Kickstarter to be the platform for making your project come to life. And then this is when you start to dive a little bit deeper into why this project, why this product, so the story behind it. So as you can see, I've spoken a little bit about why I've done the Journey Starts Now journal, because I've done a previous one before and I want to add more to my collection, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just the story behind why you've created this. People love to know backstories, and if you're like me, you don't just create something and then put it out there. Like, it has a meaning and there's a reason why you've made it and created it, so talk a little bit about that. And then you start to go through your goals. So like I said earlier, include pictures, by the way. Any kind of pictures you want to include them. But this is when you start to go through the goals that you've set, why you've set them and what they are for. So my first goal obviously being the bullet journal, and I talk about how much that is, like what the main goal is and what we need to get to it and all that kind of stuff. Talk about their key points. So my bullet journals are pure leather, 180 GSM dotted bamboo paper. They have a back pocket for the sticker sheets. They have ribbon bookmarks in them. They have an elastic band. Just really like explain and be very, very clear what is, you know, what people are getting when they are purchasing this amazing like product from you. And then we've obviously got a freebie section here. This, you don't have to offer a freebie. I just do for all of mine. So if people back the journal, for example, they got the Journey Starts Now clear sticker for free. But yeah, talk a little bit about any freebies that you are offering. And then again, stretch goals, if you do have any, talk about those stretch goals, you know, what they are going to bring to the project, all that kind of stuff. And then you also want to talk about making changes. So I think people get worried that if they pledge, they're not going to be able to change their pledge, but they can within the time frame of the campaign. So talk a bit about the fact that they can change at any point. They can, you know, add things to it. They can go down a tier. They can, you know, do whatever, because now there's options of like add-ons, which is another thing. But essentially, like, people can, so if you do stretch goals, for example, or if you just have different add-ons, there's a section now where you can pledge for like the journal, and then you go to the next page and you can add on the washi tape or the clear sticker. And also it's nice because if people want to pledge for 2 journals, for example, they just pledge for one and then they add another one on. Explain that they can do that at any point during, you know, however long the campaign is. Then you talk about how long this process is going to be. So if you don't know, it takes around 2 weeks after the Kickstarter campaign has ended for you to get your funds. Please make sure to make that clear to everyone that funds do not come in until 2 weeks after the Kickstarter. So there is nothing that you can order, you can do until those funds come in. And then just go through everything that people need to know. So for example, my journals take 2 months to get made and get shipped to me. So people need to know that. Yeah, you just need to make it clear how long the process is going to be. If you're going to do pins, how long do they take? Usually mine take about 4 weeks to get here. So, you know, just make sure you make it very clear how long the process is going to be, so people aren't expecting to pledge, the Kickstarter ends and they expect it in a week or 2. It's not like ordering from a shop, you know, it's a different process. So please make sure to be clear on that. And then you talk about shipping. So if you're just shipping to the UK, talk a little bit about that. But if you are offering international shipping, like for me now, when I offer international shipping, I offer it with tracked, no lower shipping fee, like it's just one amount. Same for UK, to be honest, like it's just standard shipping. You can add different shipping regions and all that kind of stuff, but I choose to make it quite easy and simple. But with international now, I make sure it's tracked, because the projects that I'm doing and the products that I'm getting funded now are much bigger and more expensive, so I want to make sure that it gets to them safely. But yeah, just talk a little bit about your shipping options. You got to talk about your risks and challenges. So for example, something could go wrong where the manufacturer has like needs to go on holiday or something like that. Like she's like, or they say, sorry, we've got a new, like Chinese New Year, for example, we're off for 2 weeks, you know, or there's a delay in your shipping. Just make sure in the risks and challenges that you include those things that could potentially happen. Majority of the time, you know, you've worked all that kind of stuff out already and it's fine. But yeah, just make sure people are aware of the risks and challenges of it. I want to talk a little bit about the tiers. So I've offered many different tiers. Some I've had 2, some I've had 6 probably. There's been loads. But I definitely feel like now with the add-ons, I don't need to offer as many tiers. But also I like to keep it as simple as possible. So for example, let's say I was doing pins and I had a pin tier, and then another pin unlocked, or we had another pin and there was another tier for that pin. Now what you can do, which is always best to do, is just have, like, if you're just doing a pin, for example, have 1 tier for that pin, and it can just be the pin tier, and then at the end of the campaign you can send out surveys, and that's when people can choose the pin that they want if you're producing more than 1 pin. Hopefully that makes sense. I would highly recommend offering a cheaper option. So for example, my Journey Starts Now Kickstarter, there is the tier for the bullet journal, but if people can't afford to pay for the bullet journal but they want to be part of the Kickstarter, then offer something a bit cheaper for them. So I offered the clear sticker so people could pledge for that, or the sticker sheet, or the washi tape. But also Kickstarter, there's like an option where you can pledge just £1 but you don't receive anything. So there's loads of options like that. But yeah, I'd highly recommend including a cheaper tier for people. So, you know, it helps you get more backers and more chance of funding the goal, but it also means that you know, people that can't afford the bigger items can still be part of the experience with you. I've had loads of people ask me or mention why they're scared of doing a Kickstarter. I haven't got many followers, my engagement isn't great, all that kind of stuff. Do I need loads of followers? For that answer, I believe you don't. When I did my first Kickstarter campaign, I think I was on like 1,000 followers on Instagram, maybe even less. I didn't have loads, but I got my campaign funded. It is important though to make sure you kind of build your engagement up on social media, because a lot of my backers are from social media, and I think that's the same for a lot of people. Or if you're really good on your mailing list, for example, just make sure like you still are building that excitement up on there. But it is important to have some sort of engagement, because otherwise you won't have the people to back the project. So if you are thinking of doing that, if you are thinking of starting a Kickstarter but your engagement isn't great, and I would definitely work on that first before you know, decide to do a Kickstarter campaign. But you don't need loads and loads of followers. What worked for me was the excitement and the build up to these Kickstarters. I literally build my Kickstarters like a month previous. By build, I mean I start to talk about it. So when it was the Journey Starts Now bullet journal, I asked, you know, I put polls up on Instagram, I got people involved. What do they want to see? What colours? What sayings? What designs? My patrons helped me out loads on this Kickstarter, so big up the patrons, because I needed help and they were there. But include your followers, get them engaged, make them, you know, feel like they are part of the process, because they are. Like, if they're helping you, they're part of it, and they feel like they've, you know, kind of created it with you. It's such a special experience. But build it up on social media as much as possible. Talk about it, show sneak peeks, go live if you feel comfortable about going live. Just a quick, this isn't about Kickstarter, just a quick one. If you are a small business who is a bit too scared about going live, but does feel like it would definitely, you know, help their business, I have got a reward over my Patreon called Rebels Go Live, and every month I randomly pick a small business and I go live with them. I've done this in the past, as in with small businesses, they've been scared, so I've gone on live with them, and you know, from then they've done like loads of lives. So if you are interested in that, then you can literally join from £3 and be part of that. But lives are really important. Like, I always launch my Kickstarters on a live, because people love seeing like, oh my god, we've got a backer, oh my god, we've got another backer, oh my god, we're £300 away, or something like that. People just love being part of it. So I'd highly recommend building it up, going on lives, sneak peeks, polls, you name it, and making sure like all the tiers are really clear before you launch it. You'll also have a pre-launch page. Get people signed up to that. Yeah, like big it up like a lot in advance. Okay, so they are my tips on Kickstarter. I really hope I've covered a lot of things. Now, I just want to quickly show you how easy it is to set up your a Kickstarter campaign. So you literally head over to Kickstarter. If you haven't signed up before, make sure you signed up, but obviously I've already signed up because I've done many Kickstarters, and literally you just press start a project. And this part is so this is important because you will be surprised with how many people could end up finding your project on Kickstarter. So you need to make sure that the product that you are going to be campaigning for is under the right categories. So as you can see here, there's art, comics, crafts, there's loads. So make sure you choose the right one. Usually I either go like art or design, and then there's also there's also another option then, like digital art, or yeah, like all this kind of stuff, illustration. Like if I clicked on design, what would it be? Graphic design, product design, which is what, you know, a bullet journal is, and stuff like that. So let's say we do design and we do product design, and then you just go to next, and this is another subcategory which is also really good. That's art, illustration, next location, where you're doing it from, United Kingdom, wherever you are in the world, and then this is it. You start it, and it just takes you step by step. So have a little go at it, You can change it as many times as you want before the Kickstarter. And yeah, just to quickly let you know that once you've got your first backer as a tier, you cannot change that tier. So please make sure that everything is correct. I always give my Kickstarter page to someone to look over, so if you ever want anyone to do that, let me know. But yeah, just have fun with it. Okay, so I'm ending this video here, guys. I really hope it's helped. If you have any more questions or you feel I've missed something, please let me know. Ask away in the comments. Make sure to come and find me on Instagram if you're new here. It's REBELJONES Design on Instagram. I'll link everything below, my website, my Patreon. And if you have enjoyed this video and would like to see more studio vlogs, weeks in the life, days in the life, and tips and tricks videos, then make sure to press that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can get notified on all the videos to come. And yeah, if you have any suggestions on any tips videos that you'd like to see, I am always welcome to those because I need to know what you need and want. So yeah, thank you so much if you have watched this video until the end. It really means a lot, and I'm so excited to see your Kickstarter journeys. If you are comfortable, let me know when you have got a Kickstarter coming up. I would love to share it on my socials, and I would love to follow it along and hopefully pledge when I can. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, and I will see you next week. Well, actually this Sunday I'm uploading a studio vlog, so I'll see you very soon. I love you guys, thanks for being amazing, and yeah, you're the best. I love you.